welcome back to my channel and another video. Today's video is going to be another discussion. Yay! So today's video I'm going to be talking about veganism and world hunger. If you are vegan or if you have been exposed to the vegan message, then you've probably heard that veganism could help end world hunger, or veganism could be the solution to world hunger because of the reasons that I will tell you in a second. This is a very common belief and it's used very often in, vegan messaging. When we're trying to talk about veganism, people say, oh, if you want to help end world hunger, you would be going vegan, and so on and so forth. And I also used to make these arguments that veganism could help end world hunger because I used to believe them. I used to believe that this was true. So the reason why people make the argument that veganism could help end world hunger is simply because the amount of food and the amount of resources it takes to raise animals for food is extravagant. And what this does when you feed an animal, for example, to raise that animal to grow up to become food, you end up wasting a lot of food in the process. I'll get more into detail about this in a second. So basically you just end up putting in a ton of food, which results in very little food coming out, whereas we could directly feed human beings with the food that we're feeding animals and we would end up feeding a lot more people. So that is the argument behind, veganism could help end world hunger, or going vegan is the best thing you could do for world hunger. So that is the biggest argument behind that. So whilst I still believe that animal agriculture is extremely resource heavy, and I still agree that it is very, very bad for the environment, and of course the main reason why I'm vegan is because of the animal suffering aspect. So that's still obviously there. And I still believe that it is a waste of resources, that we're using so many resources to feed cows, chickens, and pigs, which results in very little food coming out, and that is a huge waste, and I'm not in denial of that. Whilst all of that is true, I no longer believe that veganism could help end world hunger, or that veganism could cure world hunger, or that going vegan is the best thing you could do for world hunger. I do not believe that in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to be talking about this in this video. This video is not meant to make anyone feel bad. It's not meant to discredit anyone that's vegan or anyone that's ever made this argument, because like I said, I used to make this argument. This video is not intended to discredit veganism or anything like that, but it is intended to hopefully shed some light on the false logic behind this belief system that simply because we are wasting so much food to raise farm animals, if we stop eating the farm animals, all of that food will somehow magically go to those that are hungry. This is just simply false. So I'm going to go into more detail about why I believe it is false. But another reason why I want to make this video is because I actually think that making the argument that veganism could help end world hunger actually does more harm to world hunger than good, in my opinion. Because if you're not addressing the real reason behind world hunger, you're not going to fix the problem. You're simply masking the problem, and you're creating this delusion that if somebody goes vegan, that's basically all they have to do. They're doing so much for world hunger, and that's simply not true, okay? So if we actually want to, and we actually care about the issue of world hunger, then we would be trying to find a truthful solution to end world hunger rather than simply saying all you have to do is go vegan. Obviously, animal agriculture is a huge issue, and it's a problem that is extreme, and that we need certain strategies to deal with that problem, which is why we preach veganism. But that's the same thing with world hunger. World hunger is an extreme problem. There are people starving and dying every single day. So it's not an issue that should be diminished under the vegan message, if that makes sense. So anyways, let's get on with why I no longer believe that veganism could end world hunger, and why I think that people should stop saying that veganism is going to end world hunger, because it's not. So in order to help me illustrate my points, I'm going to be using a video. I'm going to be talking about a video that was published by PETA. I think it was probably a year ago, and I saw it recently, and this is a good video to use because it kind of illustrates the arguments for saying that veganism is going to end world hunger, and I'm going to talk about why these arguments are based on false logic. So the video starts off with a guy and a girl, and a guy asking the girl, what's the best thing you could do for world hunger today? And the girl says, going vegan. So right off the bat, this is completely false. You going vegan is not the best thing, not even close to the best thing you could do. I don't know what the best thing is, by the way, that you could do for world hunger, but going vegan is definitely not the best thing you could do for world hunger. It's the best thing you could do for animal suffering. It's probably one of the best things you could do for environmental destruction or to help the environment. But for world hunger, that is simply false. It's just not true. But I'll get into that in a second. By the way, this again is not intended to say anything bad about the people in this video or about PETA or anything like that. It's just simply me trying to articulate my points, and I'm sure that they had pure intentions and they didn't mean to mislead their audience. Anyway, so the video goes on to talk about some statistics about world hunger, and then it talks about, you know, why they believe that veganism is going to end world hunger. So they give two examples. One example is that if we had 13 pounds of grain, we could do one of two things. We could either feed it to a cow and get only 1 pound of meat, or we can feed that grain to an entire village. So that's their first argument. Second, if we had 1 acre of land, we can raise the cattle and kill them to get 20 pounds of meat. Or on that same acre of land, we could grow 365 pounds of soybeans and feed 17 times more people. So therefore, what they're arguing is that we have plenty of food on this planet to feed the entire human population, but currently we are not using that food to feed humans. Instead, we are using that food to feed animals. So therefore, if we get rid of animal agriculture, that food can go to humans. So that's the argument, and that is the general vegan consensus, that this is why people believe that veganism can end world hunger. One of the big problems with this argument is that we are assuming that this, for example, this 13 pounds of grain, for instance, we are assuming that this grain is just some sort of communal resource, okay? Something that is just there that we can just decide what to do with as a community, as a society, as a world. That we like all collectively own this resource, and we need to decide to do one of two things, either feed it to a cow or feed it directly to humans. Now, that is not true. In reality, those 13 pounds of grain only exists because we have animal agriculture. The reason why we have those 13 pounds of grain, or however many pounds of grain, is because the meat, dairy, and egg industries are producing that grain. They are growing that grain to feed to their animals so that they could raise their animals and create a product that they will eventually sell for a profit. So if the world went vegan, for instance, hallelujah, the world went vegan and animal agriculture no longer existed, but under the exact same system, given everything else is equal, then the meat, dairy, and egg industries would cease to exist, right? Because nobody's buying their products. If those industries cease to exist, then why is anyone producing all of that grain and all of that food that is currently being produced? Because currently it is being produced for that purpose. It's not being produced for any other purpose than to feed animals in the animal agriculture industries. Take away those industries, and who's going to be growing those crops? Who's going to be growing those grains? Now, the only thing that I can think of is if, I don't know, a non-profit organization took over, you know, some sort of world hunger charity or something took over and, you know, decided to grow grains and stuff like that and distribute them. But would they be able to distribute them to the scale that they need to do? Would they be able to grow as much? No, they wouldn't be able to grow as much, because the reason why we're growing so many grains, once again, is because we have this massive animal agriculture business. And this industry is huge. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, which is why they're growing the amount of grains that they're growing, the amount of food that they're growing. There's no other reason that they're able to grow so much food other than the fact that there's a profit that they are making from growing all that food. Does that make sense? So that's the number one problem with this assumption that somehow this 13 pounds of grain is just kind of available to us, but it's not. Another thing, then the second argument is basically the same thing. You know, 1 acre of land. If we had 1 acre of land, we can raise cattle and kill them to get 20 pounds of meat. Or on that same acre of land, we could grow 365 pounds of soybeans and feed 17 times more people. Yes, but that's not what it is in reality. Unfortunately, I'm not saying this is all ethical or morally right. I'm just saying this is the entire system that we live in, right? Like, we live in this system, this grotesque, unfair system that benefits only a few people, whilst like half of the population is starving, or, you know, something crazy. So we have this crazy system, and the meat, dairy, and egg industries, however evil they may be, they are simply players in this game, right? They are just players in this system. However horrible and however evil these industries may be, they are not the causes of world hunger. All right, my memory card just ran out of memory, so I had to delete a bunch of stuff. So hopefully I'm gonna pick up where I left, I think. I can't really remember exactly where I was, but okay, so basically the second point, the whole, if we had 1 acre of land, what could we do with it? We could either raise cattle and kill them to get 20 pounds of meat, or we could use that same acre of land and we could use that land to grow food for 17 times more people. So we could end up growing 365 pounds of soybeans compared to only growing 20 pounds of meat, thus end up feeding 17 times more people. Yes, in theory, that's what we could be doing, but the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, our world isn't shaped that way. This is kind of like the same thing as arguing, you know, if we had one mansion and 50 rooms in it, we could either house 50 homeless people, give them each a room, or we could house the Kardashian family in this mansion. What are we currently doing? We have plenty of resources. This is what I'm saying. It's like, it's not the fact that we just simply don't have enough resources or anything like that. It's like we have resources even when we don't take into consideration the meat, dairy, and egg industries and the amount of waste from those industries. We still have so much food that we waste. Regardless of the meat, dairy, and egg industries, we waste so much food whilst people are starving. So it's not just meat, dairy, and egg industries is what I'm saying. It's this entire system that has become so effed up that we are wasting literally millions, if not billions of dollars worth of food, completely perfectly fine food, yet people are still starving. I'm not saying that what the meat, dairy, and egg industries are doing is ethical or it's right or that they're not wasting food, because they clearly are wasting so much food, and I completely agree with that. But simply saying that as long as we don't participate in those industries, we're going to be helping end world hunger is not true, because under the same system, it's still going to happen, because they are not the ones causing this problem. They are simply a player in this game, in this entire system. Go into a grocery store and look at how much food there is. Okay, how much of that food is actually being eaten? There's so much being thrown away. Food waste is a huge issue. So that's another thing that we need to talk about, okay? The food waste that's going into grocery stores, for example. Why is the food that is already there, that is available for humans already, why is that food going to waste? That's one of the first questions that we should be addressing. Why is the food that has been designed to feed humans being thrown into the trash when there are children dying every day from starvation? Veganism does not fix this. You know, going vegan, as great as it is, does not fix this issue, and it does not even address this issue. So that's what I'm saying. It's like we need to talk about the real issues. However horrible and however evil the meat, dairy, and egg industries are, they're not the causes of world hunger. So what am I saying? Do I have a solution to end world hunger? No, I do not. I don't know. I honestly have no idea what we could do to help end world hunger. But the first step we could take is stop living in denial, and stop making it appear as though veganism is this cure-all pill and that it's gonna fix all the problems in the world. It's gonna make this world a perfect place and you don't have to do anything else but going vegan. That's simply not true. Of course, I would want to believe that, but that isn't true. This world is a completely fucked up place. It has so many different problems that have nothing to do with veganism. Well, they might be connected or linked in some way. Now, do I think that veganism could be part of a ending world hunger strategy? Could be part of a program, world hunger program? Absolutely. Do I think that a vegan world is more likely to be able to conquer something as complicated and as tragic as world hunger? Yes, I do believe that it is more likely in a vegan world that we would be able to do something like that. So the more vegans there are, I do believe that it is more likely that we would care more about issues like world hunger and we might come up with more solutions or yada yada yada. But these are not direct relationships. Going vegan and simply going vegan, all else being equal, does not end world hunger. Does not really do much for world hunger at all. So hopefully you guys understood what I'm saying. I'm hoping that you get my point and that you know that I'm not trying to, again, make anybody feel stupid or, you know, discredit anybody. I'm hoping that this video made you think a little bit. And if you are someone that currently makes the argument that veganism is going to end world hunger, I'm hoping that you would stop making this argument. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you guys think of this topic. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you think I'm nuts? Do you think I'm crazy? What do you think? Yeah, let me know down below. Make sure you subscribe for future videos and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!